Thank you, Senator Baldwin. Even though it is disheartening that we still need to have this debate about whether women should be in control of their own bodies, I am proud to be here with my colleagues to reiterate that Democrats are not going to give up when it comes to protecting reproductive rights no matter what. Despite previously repeatedly affirming a person's constitutional right to make their own reproductive decisions, it seems that the Supreme Court is on the verge of taking away Americans' rights for the first time in history. Overturning Roe won't just put women's rights at stake, it would put so many other rights at risk too, including the rights of families that are trying to have children. I know, because I have two beautiful little girls who are 4 and 7, but I wouldn't have them without having undergone fertility treatments, specifically in vitro fertilization. In states like Arkansas, Tennessee, and Kentucky, where they define a fertilized egg as an unborn child, that will potentially put IVF procedures and other procedures that families who are relying on fertility treatments to start a family on, it will put those procedures out of reach of so many Americans. Because of IVF, I got to experience the joys of motherhood. But with the systematic decades of work that Republicans have done to undermine Roe and take away women's autonomies over their own bodies, right now a woman's right to access basic, necessarily health care is on the line. And I've heard many of my Republican colleagues say, oh, no, we're just going to outlaw abortion. We're not going to outlaw fertility treatments. Well, I'm just going to quote the the American Society for Reproductive Medicine, who just sent out a very urgent bulletin that says, measures, and I quote, measures designed to restrict abortion could also curtail access to family-building treatments upon which our patients rely to build their families. And they could put those doctors at risk, and it could put them in federal jeopardy if there were a federal ban, because every time a doctor looks at a fertilized egg, like they did with mine, and say, you know what, you have 4 fertilized eggs, these 2 are not viable, we're going to discard those, and we're going to implant 2. He could be guilty of murder for those 2 eggs that were not viable, that we were discarded. And then, of the 2 eggs that he implanted in me that were fertilized, knowing that only 1 would take, he could be convicted of manslaughter when the other egg failed to implant. This is what we're doing. Illinois is already a state where women will drive 1,000 miles to come to us for reproductive choice. We welcome them. We welcome women who come as far as Texas to Illinois to either obtain an abortion or to get whatever help that they need. This is wrong that they have to do that, because you are putting women, especially women of color, especially women who are on the lower end of the socioeconomic spectrum, in jeopardy when you outlaw abortion. When you overturn Roe v. Wade, but you don't actually vote, when you support the overturning of Roe v. Wade, but you don't support child care and you don't support family leave, then you are a hypocrite, because women need autonomy over their bodies. And when you outlaw abortion outright, even in the cases of rape, incest, or the health of the mother, you put women in jeopardy. I had to have a DNC. I had a miscarriage. And in order to pursue my beautiful rainbow baby that I had to have a DNC in order to clear out my uterus, in order to continue with my fertility treatment. That option would now be unavailable to me, were I to live in some of these states that have these snapback rules on abortion. Let's be clear. Shame on people who think it is beyond the pale to regulate firearms, but totally fine to regulate our uteruses. I refuse to let my daughters grow up in a world with fewer rights than I had, and I won't stop working to codify Roe v. Wade into law and ensure reproductive freedoms are protected for all women. And I am proud that it is Democrats who are standing up for women, and I'll hand it off now to Senator Warren.